Welcome to Business or Pressure, taking the pain out of massage business with me, Allissa Haines. This is your no-nonsense guide to managing your business money. It's our mission to make sure every massage therapist and body worker has the tools to make a living wage in a thriving business. Let's jump in. I am so thrilled to bring you a new sponsor, Pure Pro Massage Products. I have been a friend of Pure Pro and a user of Pure Pro products for almost the full 20 years of my career. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Discerning massage therapists, like us, deserve high-quality products that perfectly support and enhance our healing work. Pure Pro massage products are created by a massage therapist for massage therapists and body workers who care deeply about the quality of their massage products. Pure Pro's full line of oils, creams, and Arnica lotion has everything you need for your favorite modality and will always leave your client's skin feeling clean and fresh. And they've put together 5 most popular products for you to explore in a special ABMP offering. You can log into your ABMP membership and click on Industry Discounts and then scroll a little bit to find Pure Pro's ABMP kit. Let me tell you what's in this kit because it's awesome. You get a full-size 8-ounce hypoallergenic massage lotion, a full-size 8-ounce ultra massage oil, a full-size 4-ounce peppermint pedango foot cream, and you get sample sizes of the Arnica relief lotion and the deep tissue massage cream. This is $80 worth of product, and you get it for $49.95, and that comes with a coupon for $10 off your next order. I'm going to talk a little more in future episodes about which products I use and why, but what I want you to know right now is that all of Pure Pro products are nut-free, gluten-free, cruelty-free, made with natural ingredients in the United States of America. From its start in 1992, Pure Pro has distinguished itself by adhering to the values of quality, purity, efficacy, and education. Once again, go to abmp.com, log into your membership, click on the big industry discounts button, and just scroll a bit to find the special link to Pure Pro's ABMP All For You kit. When you use high-quality products, people notice. Their skin feels better, your work becomes better, and your care and concern for your clients becomes part of your brand. If you haven't tried Pure Pro, this is a fantastic opportunity to do so at a wonderful entry price. Don't miss this chance. We are continuing our money series today and talking about how to pay off debt. Debt's a bit of a beast. It creeps up little by little, and then all at once it's big. You've maybe noticed that you are not able to pay more than your minimum balance on certain bills, and that's annoying, but not a problem. But then your car dies and you get denied for a car loan. Or you run a credit report and it kind of hits you all at once how much you owe. Or maybe you start budgeting and total up all your debt and it just feels overwhelming and you immediately feel defeated. But here's the thing. You know when someone comes into your office and they've got pain that they've had for years and it was nagging and nagging, and they maybe ignored those PT exercises and then something pushed them over the edge and they finally want to get better. And you very kindly explain that you probably cannot fix their pain issue in one massage. They might need more massage. They might need to actually do those PT exercises. They might actually need to get some more sleep so they can manage the pain a little better. Debt is the same way. It builds up over time, and then it's going to take a lot of time to pay it off. It's going to take some work. Some of it really stinks, but it's worth it because at the end of the slog, you are debt-free and you have freedom and you have independence and you have options and opportunities. So I'm going to outline the steps. There's only 3 of them. But I want to be clear, I know that this isn't just it's super easy, follow the steps kind of thing. It is hard. It will take some time, but the reward is worth it. The first step is to stop using debt options, stop acquiring more debt. And that is harder than just saying, I'm not going to put anything on a credit card. Sometimes you actually have to take the credit cards out of your wallet. You have to take them out of any browsers in which they are saved. You might have to change some automatic withdrawals, some bills, and take them off of your credit card and put them into your debit or checking accounts so that your bills are being paid by actual money that you have. And you have to commit to not using those little payment plans when you make online purchases like Afterpay and Affirm and Karma. I just read that DoorDash lets you finance a meal now. You can buy $100 worth of sushi and then break that up into 4 easy payments of $25. Don't do that. You actually have to stop using debt. And to do that, you have to have a spending plan or a budget that accurately reflects your real expenses. So if you don't have any kind of budget or spending plan, loosely or otherwise set up, I'm just going to refer you back to episode 489, Managing on an Irregular Income. That might help you get a little more structured with a spending plan or budget. So step 1, stop using debt. Step 2, make a list of who you owe and how much you owe them. And in that list, include the monthly due dates and the minimum payment for each debt. That's it. You got to make a list. So go through the last few months of transactions in your checking accounts and see who you owe. And then the third step is to start paying it off. You make your minimum payments on everything, and then you choose one debt at a time to make extra payments on until it's paid off. There's 2 common methods you can use to choose which debt you're going to throw those extra payments at first. The first one is the interest method, which means you look at all your debts and you see which one has the highest interest rate and you pay off that one first. And the second option is the snowball approach, where you pay off the smallest debt first. And as soon as that is paid off, that extra payment that you can make is bigger because you're done with that first little debt and you can move on to the next smallest debt. There is no right or wrong here. I like the snowball method because it is more motivating. You can more quickly pay off that first little debt and then you've got a bigger debt payment. So it feels more motivating and more effective versus spending the first year making extra payments to one debt. It feels so good to just knock out a debt, to shorten that list in the first few months. I'm a fan of the snowball method. Overall, you might pay a little bit more in interest, but you could also knock out the first few little tiny debts and then focus it all on a higher interest debt. Do what feels motivating and makes sense to you. Those are the 3 steps. And I've outlined them again as if it's easy to just knock out these 3 steps. It's not. It might take you 6 months. It might take you 5 years. And that can feel like it's so long it's not worth the effort. But I promise you that it is. So I've got a few tips to make it a little bit easier, but you'll ultimately have to kind of adjust any hacks to make sense for you in your life. So the first step is to automate it. Whether you're talking about business debt or personal debt here, anything that you can automate and take out of your brain can be really helpful. Automate the minimum payments on every single debt. And if you can automate a small extra payment on whatever the first one is you're trying to conquer, that's great. If you're living on the edge, if you're living moment to moment and paycheck to paycheck, it is not always possible to automate everything, but do what you can. With personal debt, you can make the decision that any, air quoting, extra money you get at any point can be thrown towards your debt. So that might mean a couple months a year, there's always like a 5th week. So if you pay yourself like every Thursday, twice a year, there's going to be a month where there's a 5th Thursday. So you're going to get a 5th paycheck. So you could commit to always throwing your 5th paycheck into your extra debt. Any small windfalls, any, air quote it, found money or birthday money or any little bonus you get from your side job or any tax refund that gets put towards your extra debt payment. You can get more creative. Whenever you save money, whenever you don't have to buy or make yourself dinner, like whatever, there's pizza at work or a friend takes you out to dinner, maybe when those situations happen, you can throw an extra $10 towards your debt and do it like immediately on your phone. Make that payment from your checking to whatever debt you're trying to conquer. Or whenever you make the choice to not buy something or buy something at a much cheaper price secondhand, maybe you can think to yourself, all right, well, I really needed new jeans. And instead of going to Gap and spending $70 on them, I went to the secondhand store and spent $20 on them. I've got 50-ish extra dollars I can put towards a debt payment. These are just ideas. You've got to find the hacks that work for you. And with your business debt, you could choose a client or choose a shift and always put the profit from that towards your debt. So if you have a client who comes in every week, after every one of their appointments, you determine a profit amount. So if I'm charging $100 for the massage, my profit amount might be like $50. After every single one of their appointments, I make a payment from my checking into that debt that I'm trying to pay off. You could do it with a shift. You could decide you're going to work earlier or later on one given day until your debt's paid off. Let's say normally Thursdays you don't come in until 1 o'clock, but you've decided you're going to add an 11 a.m. client. Anytime you have an 11 a.m. client on a Thursday, you take the profit from their massage and you immediately make a payment to whatever debt you're trying to pay off. In a perfect world, we'd all have really clear budgets and we would know exactly where every penny and every extra penny should go, but we don't live in a perfect world. And if you're never going to set up a real budget or spending plan, choose a few of these hacks and make them work for you. And that's what I got. You don't need any more lecturing about paying off debt. We're going to jump into our chat with a colleague. And for today's chat with a therapist, I am here with Ruth Werner, award-winning author of Massage Therapist's Guide to Pathology, which is now in its 7th edition. Also the author of columns and features in Massage and Bodywork magazine and Massage New Zealand. And I'm not even done yet, so don't get ready to say hi yet, Ruth. Also the star of Stump the Pathology Teacher, her Ask Her Anything online event, which is monthly on the 3rd Thursday of the month. You can learn more at ruthwerner.com. Hi, Ruth.
Hey, Allissa, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited I got through that whole intro and didn't flub too much of it up.
You did very well. Thank you.
And I just want to remind everybody that you can go to the show notes at abmp.com/podcast and you can get the link to Ruth's website and a little more info about the Stump the Pathology Teacher or her pathology book, which has been on my bookshelf for 20 years. It is my go-to book in my office. And, since I have the pathology expert on my podcast, I'd like to ask you not at all about pathology and instead ask you, what is the best or worst money lesson that you've learned through your career?
That is a fascinating question for me, and I have many thoughts about it, but I'm not sure I have a specific answer. I will tell you one of the hardest things that I have learned about money is that as a woman of a certain age, I don't need to apologize to anybody for wanting to be at the top of the pay scale. That took a really long time to learn. And if you are okay with it, I'd like to unpack that just a little bit.
Please do.
Yeah, because I am a product of my upbringing, as we all are. And my mother was the very first woman in her family ever to go to college or have a job outside the home. And I just want to emphasize how close we are to that kind of revolutionary change in the role of women in society. So she brought me up to be an independent thinker, but also with specific feminine roles in mind. In my family, the girls did the dishes and the boys did the trash and, those kinds of things. But it goes deeper than that. And the first year my book really began to make money and I was earning more money than my husband, I called her because I was really excited. I said, hey, guess what? I made more money than Kurt last year. And her response was to gasp and say, does he mind? Which, it seems silly, right? And especially given her experiences with being married to people who were resentful about her being able to earn her own money. And I just want to point out that kind of attitude of women in business and women were sort of running their own lives and being self-employed is, for a lot of us, the obstacles or the self-imposed biases and barriers, man, they are just underneath the surface. And it took me a really, really long time to get to the point where I can say, this is what I charge to do this kind of work. And I don't charge outrageous, crazy prices, but I do have minimums, and I don't have to apologize for that. The flip side of that is that when we settle on when we agree on whatever it is that I'm going to do, I always my main goal is to make this person really happy they hired me, right? And to take whatever steps I can to deliver everything I promised and just a little bit more. Because building those business relationships really, really pays off in the long run. But I am sometimes a little bit appalled when I look at my colleagues who are men who are in my age range, and they don't they I don't know why I'm appalled. But I am a little bit surprised that my male colleagues often don't understand what a struggle it is for a woman to say, "No, I won't work for that kind of money."
So nowadays, when someone reaches out to you and they're like, "Hey, can you come teach here? Can you Skype into my?" I just say Skype. Can you Zoom into my classroom here? We're looking for someone to write this or adjust this curriculum or whatever. How have you come to take a beat and think about how to negotiate versus being like, yay, they want me, and responding like, I would love to do that project? How do you receive such offers and respond in a way that will make sure you're getting paid at the top of your field?
Well, I like to say yes if I feel like I can do a good job and if I feel like the job is important. And those are two things that in some ways are a little more important than money. I mean, I think money is important not only because I need it to pay bills, but because I figure I am creating a pathway for people who come behind me. So we need to create expectations that this kind of work doesn't go out for free. I will only say yes to things if I think they're important and if I think I can do a good job. Fortunately, the people that I mostly work with right now know my parameters about being recognized for my work. If I feel like an opportunity can lead to bigger things for me down the line, I'm happy to do it for less money given the prospect of an ongoing relationship and some more opportunities. A good example of that is the work I have done with Massage New Zealand, and I'm doing a class for an Australian group right now, and I intend to somehow make a trip that will put me in touch with people locally there, and maybe make it pay for itself. To me, that's worth it because it's a longer term investment. But I think for people who are, particularly for people who are not yet at, geezers like me, who are still working on developing a reputation and developing a solid footing in your field. I think evaluating opportunities for what they can give you in the short term and in the long term is a good idea. And I think asking for what you want is the scariest thing that there is to do. But you have to decide ahead of time what that is. And a good example of this was I was invited to teach some classes for an organization that would had set a limit of their budget was they could pay $175 period. And this place is 3,000 miles away from me. There is no I mean, it was absurd. There was no budgeting for travel or for lodging or for whatever, and they wanted 4 hours, and I was like, "Dude, you gotta get someone local who can, give you an afternoon because what you're describing is not I cannot afford to work like that." It
That's
was
fair.
wild. It was wild. I mean, I guess you have to ask, right? You only get things that you ask for, but sometimes the answer is no, and that has to be okay. If I were to maybe try to encapsulate what lessons have I learned about money, it's that money for me stands for a few different things. It stands for recognition of my expertise. It stands for making my life easier. Maybe more than anything, it stands for expectations for the people who come after me. If I keep doing things for free, people who come after me will also be expected to do things for free. And that's not fair to anybody.
I appreciate that as someone who has come after you in a smaller scale in some different places. And yeah, I really appreciate that.
Well, and you're also doing that by, creating a worldview where people are paid what they're worth.
Yeah, who knew? Thank you, Ruth Werner. I want to remind everyone that you can learn more at ruthwerner.com. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing all of that wisdom. And I'll probably drag you back to talk more about something not at all pathology related at some time in the future.
That would be terrific. You know where to find me.
If you have a question about running your massage business or an idea for an episode, I want to hear from you. Please email me, businessorpressure@abmp.com. You can also find me building websites and coaching massage therapists at deepbreathdigital.com. And make sure you're subscribed to ABMP's podcast so you don't miss a beat. I will see you right back here for the next episode. I can't wait.